The final novel in my Jacques McKeown trilogy, We'll Leave the Galaxy for Good, is now available on Audible.com. Tell 'em Yahtzee sent ya. They won't care. I don't want to get drawn into another tiresome argument over whether South Park is still or was ever good. Sure, its habit of aloofly dismissing both sides of most societal issues as, quote, gay, comes across a little tone-deaf in this day and age and does the work of a bunch of detached rich man-children who clearly don't have enough problems in life. But it was a product of that pre-9/11, pre-financial crisis era when American society in general didn't have enough problems in life, and there's something to be admired in its consistency. Sorry, Yarts, I was actually just asking if South Park Snow Day is any good. Oh, no, it sucks balls. And it's gay. Oh my goodness, he said it, but that'll trigger a few of those spoil-sport parents of school shooting victims, cry-laughing emoji. Was that all? Well, thanks for dropping by. Could you put the door back on its hinges on your way out? The South Park games, then, which officially started with South Park The Stick of Truth in 2014, and if anyone tries to tell you that there were South Park games before that, they're lying, and you should chase them from their homes with guns and attack dogs. Stick of Truth, or to use its full title, the surprisingly better than it had any right to be Stick of Truth, was a 2D turn-based RPG that played like an interactive episode of the show. Its sequel, Fractured But Whole, for me, suffered from leaning on inside references too much and not really building upon its predecessor where the nuts and bolts were concerned, but as I was trying to say earlier, there is something to be said for staying consistent. Consistency, Yart? No, that's gay. Yeah, I said it again, try some more, The Guardian. We're going to completely mix things up by making Snow Day a full 3D game. Oh. With real-time combat. Oh. And a focus on co-op multiplayer. Yart, stop incrementing random vowels. I can't help it, an established single-player franchise suddenly pulling out a co-op-focused sequel is one of the lead-ups to Armageddon in the Book of Revelations, just between war in the Middle East and the election of the Antichrist. And anyway, the real strength of the South Park games is the way the show's creators are hands-on with them, so they benefit from authentic, witty dialogue. Please specify your preference for size of sarcasm quotes. But as many a Spider-Man game can attest, the marriage of witty dialogue and real-time combat does not make for wet patches on the bedsheet. Turn-based combat gave the last two games a reliable pace, with plenty of pauses into which verbal gags could more happily be inserted. In real time, you tend to end up hearing the same lines over and over again, with all comic timing lost, as the punchline is drowned out by an ill-timed crunch of punished testicles. So with Snow Day, South Park is throwing away its major strength right off the bat, and then there's the fact that while the deliberately lazy paper cutout visual style might be very effective at both conveying the mood of an irreverent, crude cartoon show and irritating Mr. Jeffries the art teacher, as a vehicle for real-time combat, then surely it would be too difficult to read. Once you go past a certain degree of stylization, an NPC could be launching towards you for an affectionate cuddle, or to push your eyeballs out through the back of your skull. I mean, my visual style works well enough to deliver gags, and is easy to knock out during my brief windows of consciousness, but I wouldn't use it for a combat engine, because there's no visual difference between a character winding up a punch and saluting a Nazi. So even sight unseen, I had my misgivings about a full 3D real-time combat-based South Park game. Remember the terrible N64 don't remember it, because it didn't exist. But even I was surprised by how many layers of dog shit awaited me in Snow Day, like extremely suspect puff pastry. The plot is, a freak snowstorm hits South Park and all the kids are off school doing that town-wide LARP from the first game, and you once again take up the mantle of the new kid to help unite the main characters and their armies against the common threat and end the endless winter, blurring of reality and fantasy, COVID lockdown references, slightly sophomoric fixation on poo-poos, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Or perhaps I should say new kids, plural. That's how you can tell it's co-op focused, because everyone seems to have gotten the wrong kind of snowblind and keeps talking like there's more than one of you. This always annoys me, because it puts a game's narrative element on the wrong foot. I'm special, damn it. I'm a super special boy who will do great things and possesses basic sentience and can pull off facial hair really well. I know, because my mum told me, and I demand to be treated as such. But while the new kid in the previous games was a protagonist and leader, in Snow Day they more take the role of hatchet man and town bitch, while only the established characters are allowed to actually participate in what story can be injected between the tedious slugfests like intramuscular steroids. In the final mission, it's the four leads who identify the villain, try to reason with them, realise that only a final climactic encounter will save the town, and as the cutscene fades out, they turn to the new kid and all but word for word say, "Right, now you go do the boring part." The new kid is excised altogether from the ending cinematic, presumably they're busy off-screen having an extremely heated phone call with their agent. Oh, and when I say final mission, I mean mission 5. That's all you get. Although that might be for the best, since they've run out of ideas by mission 2. Who'd have thought that a game about fighting off hordes of identical champagne corks exclusively in outdoor snowy environments would struggle to be visually interesting? Oh, and of course combat is hard to read and looks like a heated argument taking place in a punnet of button mushrooms. That much I expected. I didn't expect the interface to be so crap as well. All default Windows fonts over plain rectangles. I didn't expect the game to occasionally freeze mid-combat for 30 seconds, to yell the word bullshit and show us the enemy activating a pathetically ineffective special attack in a highly cinematic and notably unskippable way. The core combat gives you a choice of over 2 melee weapons, 3, there's 3 melee weapons, and you only unlock the third one in like mission 4. In contrast, the upgrade tree is quite extensive and quite expensive as well, so by the time I hit story end, I'd only unlocked like 6 things out of 30, but encountered no difficulty whatsoever. Oh, but you can replay the missions as many times as you want with your friends to unlock all the extra upgrades and cosmetics. Good point. I do have too many friends. Oh, are you still here, South Park Snow Day? I don't know if you trying to encourage replays makes me laugh or cringe more. Feels like I got to your birthday party an hour late to find I'm the only guest who showed up. Wait, that's a flawed analogy, because birthday parties are fun. Let's say I showed up just as you were pissing all over the sausage rolls.